think we are live. Let me see. There we go. Gonna wait a little bit so people can join in. How's everybody doing? Having a good day? Hey everybody. My name is Håkan Mårtensson. I'm originally Swedish, but I live here in New York right now. And I'm very grateful of having this live session and being able to make some bonbons with all of you guys on Calibot's behalf. We're gonna wait just so some people can get the start, but hope everybody is staying safe. It's crazy here in New York. It's been really crazy, and it's very interesting to see how everybody in this community is going together to create things like this. If you can't really hear me, I'm gonna try to speak up. Worst case, I'll put in my headphones and maybe I'll get a better sound. And unfortunately, I don't have any camera crew here today. My wife had to take my 14-month-old son for a little wrestling game. They might pop in a little bit later, but as you have questions, I'll be able to see them a little bit closer later on, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. And if I can't, if I don't see the questions right now, I will definitely add them later, both to this feed and to my personal Instagram. It's Håkan Mårtensson. Today we're gonna make a spiced citrus bonbon. It's very simple. What we're gonna do is we're gonna fuse a ganache and a caramel and create something that has a pretty good shelf life, but also like delicious. And then we're gonna add some spice. In my case, I have Tabasco in my cabinet, but you can literally use whatever you want. But let's get this going. So, main ingredients is chocolate, of course, cream, butter, Tabasco. I use a little bit of honey, and then we have as citrus. I had lemon at home, so I squeezed them, and I'm using that. You can use any kind of citrus you want. Yuzu, sriracha. You can have orange, you can have lime, whatever you feel like. And for me, lemon was the choice today. This recipe is better with some acidity. So compared to an orange, lemon is better. I will also show everybody the recipe so you can have it, and I'll screenshot it and I'll add it to the feed and so on and so on. And let's get this going. So since we're doing a caramel and we're doing a ganache, caramel takes much longer time. So we'll put it on the same time. We'll start with the ganache and then we'll add the caramel. I pre-made some chocolate shells. Just a regular half dome. So if you can see here, it's a milk chocolate shell. I added sprayed with a little black and a little bit gold. So it's pretty. You can use whatever shell you want. And if you want a tutorial on how to make shells, I will be showing that in my live feed on my Instagram at Håkan Mårtensson a little bit later. So I'm making a spiced citrus bonbon, and I'm a chocolatier. I'm not a pastry chef, but I'm a chocolatier. So this is gonna be a ganache. So let's get this started. I'm gonna put this over. I'm gonna move the camera over so it's a little bit easier to see. But first of all, I have a little bit of water, sugar, and I'm putting it on the stove. So a good trick when you're making a caramel instead of brushing down the edges constantly, I use a little bit of plastic foil. So this way there's a condensation going from the lid of the plastic, and it goes down on the sides. That way you don't have to brush it and check it constantly. I already have some juice, some citrus juice scaled up. That's what we're gonna add later. And then I'm making a ganache on the side. So I have cream in this one. And then I'm adding some honey. You can use anything. Maple syrup, or you can use some regular sugar or whatever. I had honey at home. So. In the meantime, I'm gonna move this camera over a little bit. Let's see. This brand is from Calabout. Let me see. Sorry for the... There we go. Now I can see some questions too. Malaysia, hey! So what I'm doing right now, I'm making a caramel. And at the same time I'm making a ganache. This is gonna be a citrus spiced bonbon. So I'm a chocolatier, so all I do all day long is chocolate. Bonbons, ganaches, sculptures and so on. Turkey. I have a very Swedish name, but it's also very Turkish. I get that a lot on my Instagram. I'm making a citrus spiced bonbon. Chile, London, oh, I love to see that. So this is a very easy. Richie, my main man. We have some chocolate. Oh, Ghana, I just visited Ghana. Amazing place. Brazil, amazing. So we're adding some spice afterwards in this. That's why it's easier to control the spice when you do that. You also have to think about how to use the spice and that it might grow. So what's less spicy today might be very, very spicy tomorrow. So be careful, but add what you feel like. So the caramel is starting slow here. And my ganache is coming along. Sebastian, läget? So I'll show you the bonbons we're gonna make one more time. I'll have some tutorials on this on my Instagram on Håkan Martinsson a little bit later. Very simple to do. It's easy if you have a mold and you have some time, make it at home. I pre-made it today to save some time. There's a little bit of water in the caramel. Just sugar and a little bit of water just for it to dissolve a little bit easier. So hope everybody is staying safe. It's so crazy in the world today. That's why it's always good to have some extra chocolate in your apartment. My Instagram is Håkan Martinsson, HAKAN MARTENSSON. So the caramel is good. I'll explain it again. Now we have a plastic film over the caramel. So the condensation that goes up in the roof of the plastic will slowly wash the sides of the pot, which makes it easier. You don't have to stir it constantly. And here in the US we use gas stoves for everything. So the other ingredients we have in the pot for the ganache, it's just cream and a little bit of honey now. We're adding it to the chocolate. We're have some room tempered butter, unsalted butter, stir it in, and then we add we emulsify it so it's nice and clean. Do you always use plastic on larger batches of caramel? No, I don't. The bigger they are, the harder it is to control. I do it up to like 1500 to 2000 grams for caramel. So, nice smell of honey here. So, I'm just adding this to the chocolate. And then I'll stir it in. I will definitely share all the recipe. I will show it so you can have a screenshot in a little while, but I'll also have it updated on my personal Instagram, Håkan Martinsson, but it will also be available here at Callebaut's site. So, see, it's very smooth and nice. I use Callebaut's 823. This chocolate I've used for over 20 years now, and I never get tired of it. It's amazing. So I'm adding some butter, room tempered butter. It's the plastic is actually a regular cling wrap. The citrus I'm using today is lemon. Let's see. Just stirring it. Very smooth. Nice. It melts very nice. Now you can see it already has a nice gloss, but I'll mix it and you'll see how it looks. So I won't be able to see all the questions, but I'll get back to them later, and then I'll try to reply. There you go. Very smooth and nice. The caramel is going. So the caramel, what we're gonna do as soon as this caramel is done, we're gonna add it to this ganache. It gives it a very, very nice and clean texture, and it works perfectly with some citrus and some spice. A little bit sweeter, so if you want to add a little bit of salt, perfect. The caramel, I'm boiling to about 170 to 180 degrees Celsius. I see by eye, more or less, so you can see when it starts to get golden, a little bit more than golden. The more you cook it, the more bitter it's gonna be, the ganache. You can see that the bubbles is slowing down and get bigger. I don't know if you see it here. 1 second. Here you go. I love Callebaut chocolate as well. Thanks for adding the Instagram, everybody. Really appreciate it. At my Instagram, I will start doing a lot of live shows where I'll create bonbons and bars and chocolate. I'll also do some sculpting which I love. Brazil, hey Brazil. The plastic does not need to be in contact with the water. It shouldn't be. It's just protecting the surface. So you can even see that it's snapping a little bit now. But you can see that it's colored. What happens is that the condensation from the caramel goes up to the plastic and then it pours down on the sides, which makes it easier for decrystallization. So you don't have to brush it down constantly. As you can see, also if the plastic doesn't snap, never do it with your fingers, because if there's steam underneath, you might burn your hands. Trust me, I know. I have some lemon juice here. Now you can see that it starts to getting a little bit nice and golden. I'll wait just a little bit. I will definitely do some sculpting sessions, especially on my Instagram. I love sculpting. It's my favorite thing to do. So now you can see that it starts to get golden in the sides. We're adding the juice little by little. It's just room tempered. There's nothing with it. Just be careful, a little bit at a time, because if you add everything, it's gonna boil straight over. I will save this live and it will be available to watch later, so you can see the start and everything. I'll brief you. So I done our caramel. This is the caramel here. And a ganache. I'm gonna mix them together. I'm gonna add a little bit of spice. So what I'm doing now, I'm just waiting for all the caramel to dissolve. You can do medium heat. This is lemon. It smells incredible in here. So you can see that it's very nice. I'm shutting out the stove, making sure I'm not burning my hands. It smells so good. So this is really warm now, so you never add the ganache to the caramel. You add the caramel to the ganache. Just a little bit. It's not gonna burn, it's just gonna temper it very, very nicely. See how golden and beautiful it is. I love this technique. There's millions of different techniques, as you all already know, but this is a great technique because you can make it the day before and it's perfect to pipe the day after. The temperature on the caramel is about 170, 172 degrees Celsius. So you already see it's nice and clean. So then I'm adding some spice. This is Tabasco. I had that in my cabinet. It gives a very nice heat. You'll get the recipe on exactly how the amount later. You can use any kind of hot sauce or even any kind of spice. Just avoid, if you look at a hot sauce and you look at the ingredient list, you should avoid everything that has garlic and onion extract. It doesn't give the same flavor. I'll tell you that. So now I'll just emulsify this one. So what you can do when you're emulsifying something, you put the burn mixer straight down, put it up on the side, let go of the air bubbles that get trapped, and that way you'll get it very, very nice and smooth. This popping sound you can hear is the air bubbles. I can still hear there's an air bubble type. So air bubbles trap air. Air contains bacteria, so you want to get as much out as possible for a longer shelf life. That's good for now. Okay. This smells amazing. I don't know if you can see it. So, since this is live, I also prepared one. It takes a little while for this to cool down, as you probably understand. So I already made one yesterday, and the texture is like this now. So it's prepared for the shells. So this one I'll put away. I'm gonna move you guys over here. Hello, Cyprus. Thank you. Let me see. That's pretty good, I think. Is good? A little bit higher, maybe? So. Spiced citrus ganache. So it's, I used lemon, milk chocolate, Calabout's 823. 823. That's not even such a thing. I think Calabout has a lot of different versions. So to recap, I made these shells yesterday. It's a black and golden shell, and it's a very thin milk chocolate shell, also made from the 823. Scissor. I'm flip this a little bit more. Hey-oh. So I can't see all the questions right now. I'll recap a little bit later. Right now I'm just filling this. Maybe I should actually do it like this. My wife is out with my son right now. That's better. So we're filling up. This one is gonna flow down a little bit. So. If you're so this one, the ganache is made yesterday, so it's a little bit thicker. If you do it the same day, it's definitely gonna float out a little bit more, but this is gonna be great. If you want a little bit salt with it, it's perfect. Any kind of Malden or maybe some smoked salt goes great with citrus. So, tap this down just a little bit. It's always different to make stuff at home, as everybody see. Oop, floating away. Means the shells are good. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna temper some chocolate so we can cap it. In the meantime, this mold is going in the refrigerator. I would always recommend for people to do the ganache the day before, let it crystallize naturally. If you put it in the refrigerator, it might not have crystallized right. You cap it, but it might start to leak and so on. So in it goes. This live will be saved, yes. And it will be available here at Cannibals website. So you can see everything from the beginning. So in the meantime, I'm doing that. I'm gonna just temper some chocolate. There's tons of different ways to temper. I'm gonna do a fast one called seeding. So you're melting a part of chocolate, you're adding calories of tempered chocolate. Those crystals will turn the whole ganache, the whole chocolate into temper. Nice apron, thank you. Straight from Calabar. Well, everything is flipped because I'm using a camera, so. So I see that someone has Marike. You had problems with your molds, your bonbons getting stuck in the molds. I saw from South Africa. It might also be humidity or too hot. Usually the shell, if it gets too hot, gets stuck in the mold, which happens to everybody sooner or later. What I do is, if it does, throw it in the refrigerator or in the freezer for a little bit and try to get it on. You always look at it so they can see that everything has contracted from the molds before you tap them out. Otherwise it might stick. So at the moment I'm just adding some calories and I just stir it. It's an easy way to temper at home. I will be making different molds and different tempering techniques and everything on my personal Instagram, Håkan Martinsson, where I'll show you all kinds of techniques and to keep myself entertained in these crazy times. Maria, hur är läget? So I just heated this one up just a little bit more. My kitchen is very small, but you can do a lot with a small kitchen. Axelssons. Hoppas jag kan komma hem till sommaren. Ser inte så ut just nu. My personal Instagram is Håkan Martinsson, Hakan Martenson. Please come to Iran. Yeah, I would love to. Hey Thailand, thank you so much. So, start to get in temper just by adding small calories and stir. Let it go down in temperature. Is anyone doing the right tempering? There's no wrong tempering as long as it works for you. Is anyone making any bonbons from home? To recap, what I'm doing is a spiced citrus bonbon. So I'll show you right here what it is I'm doing. It's flipped. I'll take a photo and then I'll upload it so everybody can get the the recipe. Super simple. It's a ganache and a caramel fused together. That way shelf life is longer since it's more sugar. And right now I'm just using the refrigerator to cool down the bonbons so that I can cap them. And the bonbons will look like this. I will share the recipe. It will be available here at Calibot's website. I'll also update it to my own site. If you want it right now, I can definitely show you. It's heavy cream, 180 grams, 20 grams of honey. I use 330 grams of Calibot's 823. I have 27 grams of unsalted butter, and I use 8 grams of Tabasco. That's the ganache. And then in the caramel, it's just a little bit sugar. So 160 grams of sugar. I use 40-50 grams of water just to dissolve it, and then I'll add 90 grams of citrus. My personal account is Håkan Martensson, Hakan Martensson. Which side do I buy the products? I live in Massachusetts, Boston. There's definitely a rep very close to there. If you DM me, I can put you in touch with whoever you need. So, I've just been tempering just to be able to cap my bonbons. The recipe, I will update it so you can see it. My heavy cream is 180 grams. Then I add 20 grams of honey to that. Then I'll do 330 grams of Calibot's 823 milk chocolate. Then I have 27 grams of unsalted butter and 8 grams of Tabasco in the ganache. And then I do 160 grams of sugar in the caramel and 90 grams of citrus. Angel, how are you? Tempering in a bowl works. So, just to show you guys. Oh, I don't know if you can see, but just by stirring it, it's tempered and ready. I'm just waiting for my ganache to set a little bit. The temperature of the chocolate that I use is about 27, 28, up to 30 degrees. Depends a little bit of what kind of chocolate and what kind of fluidity you have in it. Let me see if the... So I have the ganache and the bonbons here, and still a little bit wet, but I'm still gonna cap it just so we get it done. Yes, I will do live classes, and I will also save this live video, so it will be available here at Calibot. So now I'm gonna back up this camera a little bit. Yes, I'm gonna write the recipe so you can get it. It will be available straight after this live session, and this live session will also be saved so that you guys can see it again if you have any problems. And you can also reach out to me on my DM if you have any questions or if you're wondering anything. In the refrigerator just until it starts to set. So my problem now here is that it's not set. nothing better than chocolate. So I'll be very careful. Best thing to do if you're doing bonbons at home, let it rest till the day after. I promise you, it's gonna be way better. So usually you can do this in one swipe, but since the ganache is actually moving a little bit, I have to be extra careful. You won't have this problem if you have the time to let it rest. But it worked. Wipe it off a little. Capped and ready. The temperature, it depends on, I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but it's perfect to have it between 27 and 28 when you're capping. You can even go up to 29 if you want to. Just make sure it's completely, it stays in temper. I see, yes, correctly. Melt the chocolate in the microwave until it's a little bit warm, and then add tempered chocolate chips. Just stir it until it's melted and has reached below 30 degrees, and it will be perfect. Best way to crystallize is definitely room temperature. I would never do it in my refrigerator unless I have to get it done super fast, like here now. It's better to let it take time. What happens otherwise, the ganache might move a little bit after you have it, after taken out and seal it. So if you're sealing it and it starts moving below, you're gonna create an air gap and it's gonna start to mold. So now we're just waiting to tap them out and eat some bonbons. I wish I could share it with all of you guys here. Such a crazy time. We've been in lockdown for about a month now, me and my wife and my dogs and my 40-month-old. So it's crazy. I hope you all are staying safe. You working also with micro? I do. I have a easy temper machine. This one, which is super good. So when you're doing stuff at home, for example, you're adding 1% of this crystallized butter, and then everything gets tempered. So if you're spraying molds or you're working with molds, I can't recommend it enough. You don't have to mess your complete kitchen up. Am I selling my bonbons online yet? I don't, but I'm very close to. We are working on a solution to get it on my company Håkan Chocolatier here in New York. And yes, I will definitely do online classes, and I will do live things constantly on my Instagram. It's Håkan Martinsson. Ben, so you're making bread now. How you're painting with brushes, perfect. The temperature, so the cocoa butter needs to be tempered. I would work around 29 maybe, and then be patient and make sure it doesn't crystallize too fast. I will definitely let everybody know once the bonbons is ready. So I'm just letting it set. It sets very fast once it's tempered in the refrigerator, but it's better to just leave it out. So now a good way to to make sure that everything is extracted is to look under the mold. So here you can see that it's all white and see-through. That way they're all contracted from the molds, and it's easier to tap them out without getting bonbons to stick. They might stick if you're working in an apartment. You also know that temperature goes up and down, so just be careful with that. So this time you can invite a bunch of friends and have them try your bonbons, but right now I have to eat all this with my wife myself because social distancing. So I'm gonna show you guys. I will be holding live classes on my Instagram for you to see how I make bonbon shells and all that stuff. At the moment they look like this. And now I'm gonna grab this one and we'll cut through and you can see how it looks. I thought you could see. I'll move over here. So they stay nice and creamy. That's the beauty when you're doing a ganache together with a caramel. It gets a very, very nice texture. And these ones I'll be eating all day long. So let's recap, and then I'll show you the recipe. Nice heat from this one. If you don't like it to be too hot, just reduce the spice you're using. You can even do this without the spice, a little bit of salt, and it's gonna be perfect. It's a lemon caramel together with a milk chocolate ganache. So we did spiced citrus bonbon. They all look like this, and they're great, delicious. I'm very happy to have you guys here. I'm very happy that Callebaut let me do this live session. It was amazing. So I'm gonna show you the recipe now. I just have to how do I flip the screen like this? So here you can do a screenshot if you feel like it. I will also be sharing it online, both on my website, and it will also be available at Callebaut's Instagram. Alexander, what's up? That's it for me. Do you have any other questions? I'll go through later on to see if I missed any questions. That way I will answer them. My tempering machine, I don't have a tempering machine, but I do have an easy temper for the cocoa butter. Hey Grease, want the recipe? I'll show it one more time here. I've also uploaded online, so you can see it. Take a screenshot and then you can just and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on my DM at Håkan Martinsen, and I'll be happy to answer as much questions as you want. Please stay safe, and yeah, that's the message from now. And practice as much as you guys can. This is the time to be inspired and see it. The shelf life on this caramel, I would say it's probably 1.5 to 2 months easy, because of the sugar you have. The brand of color I use at the moment, I'm using a few different, but Chef Robber has been a big one. If you use how to make the caramel to stay soft, this is the perfect way. If you're adding a caramel to the ganache, it will stay soft for a while. Gran Canaria. I remember I was there 20 years ago. Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you everybody for watching, and stay safe. Cheers.